Maybe you, like me, have been picking up on the instability. Maybe you have been, like me, picking up things around you and the instability in those things around you. I do appreciate your loving kindness and your sweetness. If you are new, or if you have happened here on this channel at this moment and you've never seen me before, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a geophysicist, I'm not a quantum physicist. I have no background in science, in quantum physics, and any of the things that I talk about all come to me through intuition, through dreams, through observing these things in whatever, I don't know what the right word, um, I don't know what the right word is to call it, but these things come through clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. So again, if you're new and you've happened across this channel, this has nothing to do with science or quantum physics, um, or astrophysics or any of the other things that are not in my background. And I do talk about these things quite often because those things do come through to me in visions, in audible ways. They come through multiple channels, and I pick up on those things in many multitudes of ways. Your DNA is nothing more than an antenna between you and the universe. So, our DNA is an antenna that is the go between our physical body and consciousness and the universe. These are the things that are coming through to that antenna for me. And that's what I want to share with you. I can hardly believe that I haven't been on my own channel in 12 days. It seems like it doesn't seem like it has been that long. So if you know that your DNA functions between you and the universe as an antenna, then you know that you are picking up a multitude of things in the universe. That could be stars, planets, asteroids, comets, spaceships, black holes, all of it. Now, can you decipher it? That's another story. We all have within our DNA the capability to not only hear and see and feel these things, but to also decipher them. But that is a very big lesson for all of us in trust, whether we believe or whether we trust that we are actually seeing and feeling and hearing things, and whether we trust ourselves to decipher those things. That's a whole other story. Your DNA functions as an antenna between you and the universe. So, what I share here is not based on quantum physics or science or anything else other than my antenna that picks up signals from my body and into this universe, sometimes even into the multiverse and extending out into the omniverse. But today I want to talk to you very briefly about what I've been hearing, seeing, and feeling within our own universe. As I said, to be able to do this is to simply be human in a human body. It's all a matter of what you trust that you're really experiencing, and if you trust yourself to decipher it. Now, in this kind of energy, the packets may be so full of information and frequency, um, and even downloads, that it can be hard to decipher it, or you may, like me, decipher a very small piece of it and not the energy in its entirety. So, what I want to deliver to you today is the very small piece of information that has been coming through to me for the past 8 or 9 days. So, let's talk about Three Eye Atlas, and hopefully, I have that name correct. I was at the swimming pool probably about 7 or 8 days ago, and I looked at the sun for about 3 or 4 seconds with my naked eye. And then when I closed my eyes, I was able to remote view the sun. If you're familiar with this channel, I've been talking about remote viewing the sun for probably at least the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. That's how long. Well, I've been doing it for longer than that, but I wasn't brave enough to talk about it for as long as I've been doing it. If you know that your DNA function as the antenna between the information housed in here and the information out there in the universe, then you will know that some people, all people, every person on this planet is going to feel what I'm sharing with you. It's going to feel different ways to different people. Some people it'll feel exciting. Some people it will feel scary. To some people it'll feel exhilarating. Okay, that totally depends on where you are, your amount of trust in yourself, and your amount of trust in the universe or God or source or whatever you believe the stabilizing power of creation is coming from on this planet. Everyone is able to do what I do, what most of you do. At this point, a lot of people on the planet are simply feeling it, okay? And then there's a group of people that are doing more than feeling it. They are reading that energy that's happening from whatever the source of it is. At this moment, it happens to be Three Eye Atlas, and hopefully I have the correct name. I found out about Three Eye Atlas after I had already seen it. Now, I have seen objects by the sun going all the way back to probably 2016. I just didn't start talking about it at that time. So everyone feels it. Some people can read the energy from whatever the interstellar object is, or interstellar energy, or plasma, or electromagnetic fields, whatever it is. We feel it all. It's the capability that you have as a human in a physical body at the moment. But some people can read that energy, and then there's a group of people that feel that energy, read that energy, and decipher that energy. So let me briefly just tell you what I have deciphered. So I'm at the pool and I'm looking directly at the sun for 3 or 4 seconds. And I am no stranger to seeing objects by the sun. However, I have never, ever seen anything this big. Now, I don't know how accurate it is when I'm remote viewing the sun as far as size or effect on Earth. So let me just tell you what is coming through to me energetically, intuitively, in a way that I can decipher. Again, this is a small piece of the deciphering. Many other people may be feeling the energy, reading the energy, and deciphering it on your own. Okay, but here goes. When I looked at the sun with my eyes closed, which is how I remote view the sun most of the time. Sometimes I do it in the bed in complete darkness. This time I happened to be at the swimming pool. And when I looked at the sun, the object appeared to be directly in front of the sun, and it appeared to be a little bit more than half the size of the sun. Okay, so the sun was a little bit more than halfway covered up by this object. Now, does it mean that was to the left or the right or the north or the south or the east or the west? I only know how I was remote viewing it, and things don't come through intuition in a matter of fact, logical reasoning or way. They come through in a way that is best and most easily as best and the easiest way for the person who is viewing or having the experience to understand. That being said, this object covered up a little more than half of the sun. So this 3-eye atlas looks like it's about, I would say, 55 to 60% the size of the sun. For whatever reason, it also appears or feels to me like it is getting bigger. Okay. And since I don't have a background in quantum physics or quantum mechanics or science or any of this stuff, it's me going out on a limb to tell you what my experience was without being able to put words scientifically that if you have that kind of background, you may understand. But basically, the object that I was shown, 3-eye atlas in front of the sun, was a little bit more than half the size of the sun. If you are like me and you've been experiencing chaos in any form, okay, that could be the mechanics of things. When you're talking about an energy pool or a gravitational pull that is this strong, it could be affecting your car's engine. If you have smart technology, refrigerators, washers, dryers, it could be affecting those. It can definitely and will definitely be affecting the people around you. Even after I had seen that this 3-eye atlas was a little less than or around half the size of the earth, I still questioned, why are people acting just totally insane around me? I can normally get along with any person from any background, any walk of life, or any ethnicity. But it's almost like I feel in the last week and a half, like I'm walking around speaking Spanish or speaking Mandarin to an English speaking colony. That's what it's felt like. And it's pushing and pulling and creating such a gravitational tug of war that it is not only forcing things to rise up from the ocean bed, that would be sea life that lives in the bottom, it's causing cracks or fissures within the earth itself, and it is pulling with that gravitational force and bringing things up to the surface within the planet. Now, you are a much smaller physical body than the planet, which means it's doing the same thing to you. And I said a prayer before I went to sleep last night, and I said, thank you for everything that happened today. Thank you for every experience. Thank you for every breath. And thank you for every moment, even the moments that I don't understand in this very now moment. I know that I will access that later. And it was so interesting because I've like dealing with people. This has been going on been really, really super intense. Gravity, as you know, has a huge effect on everything from our heart to our nervous system, to our tectonic plates, to what lives in the bottom of the ocean floor. And everything is rising to the surface. So this 3-eye atlas object, the gravity that is creating is tugging at the orbit of not only planet Earth, but every planet within our little universe here. Maybe that seems like a stretch to your imagination. But you know, sometimes when you know it's Mercury retrograde or you know there's a full moon, you will at least admit that you can feel the differences in energy. You can feel the difference in the energy of the plants and the animals. You can feel the energy is different in your neighbors or your spouses or your co-workers or your family. This is no different, but I would wager to say that this is the strongest gravitational pull that we have ever experienced. Now, when we change from one sign to another, when our north and south node change of the moon in connection with the planets, all of these things are felt. That's what the whole science of astrology is. And you don't need to know astrology, and I certainly don't know astrology to understand what I'm saying. This 3-eye atlas, I don't know how big this ship is itself, but I can tell you that for whatever reason that quantum mechanically I don't understand, there is a plasma coming off of this or surrounding this that is attracting more plasma, and it is getting larger. So I am unclear on the physical size versus the physical size being a component and the energetic field or plasmatic field around it, because when I remote view it, I cannot differentiate between the physical size and the energetic size. So when I say it's a little bit more than half the size of Earth, I mean in totality what I'm seeing with its energetic and plasma field. I know that the majority of you understand the full moon and how it affects the water and the tides and the animals and the human body and everything else because of its gravitational field, because of that gravitational pull that it has on Earth and all sentient life here. But this object's gravity is literally, physically tugging at the orbit of Earth and the other planets that are surrounding us in this universe. And so what that extreme gravitational field and gravitational pull is doing is making a whole lot of movements. So think of a boat out on the ocean. When a tidal wave comes through, that boat's going to rock. The people may feel a little uneasy, right? Things may be falling off the shelves unless you're on a naval ship and you have everything nailed down, so to speak. Your body is the same way. If you are on a ship in a calm sea and all of a sudden you have a huge gravitational pull, that gravitational pull is going to rock the boat. 3-eye atlas and the gravity that it is causing, the gravitational pull that 3-eye atlas is causing is literally and physically tugging at the orbit of Earth and the surrounding planets. That is why animals are acting different, insects are acting different, people are acting different. People can go from 0 to fiery in a millisecond right now. Normally, people are not like that. Some people are like that. Most people are not like that. Right now, almost everybody is gravitationally experiencing that within the body, that 0 to rage or 0 to lust or 0 to fantasy land or 0 to anger. They are experiencing that in a nanosecond right now because 3-eye atlas gravitationally is tugging at the orbit of Earth and all the other planets, which means planet Earth is being rocked and shaken. Hence the volcanoes, the CMEs, the electrical charge in the field. Everything is being shaken right now. And everything is experiencing a lack of stability here on Earth. So the gravitational pull is causing a lack of stability on planet Earth. The comets, the ships, the planets, the asteroids, and everything in our universe is being affected by how close this object is to our sun and how large it is. In summation, the important thing to know, if you have been noticing that this is going on, is that the gravitational balance that currently exists between the sun and the earth and all of the other planets is being disrupted. There is a natural, organic, gravitational balance between earth and sun and the other planets in our universe. And that has been completely and totally disrupted. So if you have been feeling or experiencing a real shakeup in reality, and like I said, that would be anything from your appliances and to your in-laws. Now, here's the thing, and here's the reason why I share this. So I don't have to come on here and share this and get all these hate comments and mean nasty grams from people or bots or whatever they are. But here's the reason why I do. When I trust myself, and when I steer myself and my life by my internal compass, I become ungovernable. When you and I, when we trust ourselves and when we steer our lives by our internal compass, meaning I'm seeing stuff, I'm hearing stuff, and I'm here to tell you about it. When we trust ourselves and when we steer our lives along with the guidance of our internal compass, you and I, we, every one of us, become ungovernable. And the main reason why we're seeing so much craziness in the external world, as far as the people who used to be in complete and total control. Now, this is separate from what is happening with the tectonic plates, and it's separate, but it's not, right? Systemically, it's all one thing. But the fact that you and I would trust ourselves. Now, for me, that means running my everyday life of doing and saying and feeling and eating and walking and breathing and conversating and everything by my internal compass. When you and I start governing ourselves with our own internal compass and steering that, we become ungovernable. And so what is happening has been happening for many years. Specifically, it's been happening really strongly for the last 5 years. But right now, what is happening with the assistance of this gravitational pull from 3i Atlas is that the majority of the people on this planet are becoming ungovernable, right? My ungovernability, I'm guessing, is the reason why I have so many people that show up and make mean comments. Why would you even stop at a video if you didn't care, or you thought the person was ridiculous or retarded or whatever? Why would you even stop? The reason they would stop, and probably mostly they are bots, is because they already know that we are becoming ungovernable. And when I get up here and talk about, things that pertain to science or quantum physics, astrophysics, geoengineering, space weather, all these things that I have zero background in, the only reason I'm coming here is because I'm trusting myself and I am governing myself instead of allowing myself to be governed by an external reality or an external control. And the biggest and only fear that they have over you and over I is the fact that you and I would run our lives by our own internal compass and become completely and totally ungovernable. And that's where we are. We are at the point of ungovernable. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for the support of the people who showed up. I have no idea who you are because the comments remain to be covered up. Yes, thank you for being here. And until next time. I know it's hard, even though I knew that things were going on that were energetic or plasmatic, energetic, plasmatic, and gravitational. It was still in the last week very hard to deal with other people, right? Because even if you are not the one that has deciphered it yet, even if you are just at the feeling point, or even if you're just at the reading energy point, you may have been asking yourself, why are people acting so hard to contact? Like, that's the biggest experience I've had in the last week, is it's hard to contact people. Sometimes physically, I mean hard to contact, like hard to get a return message or a return email or a return phone call. That's part of it. But it's like you cannot break through, or maybe you can't get someone to understand you. It's because whatever that person has been holding deep inside of them is also rising to the surface. It is also becoming unstable, like the orbit of the planets. And I'm not saying anything catastrophic is going to happen by any stretch of the imagination. I am explaining to you that the planets, that planet Earth and the other planets in this universe, are rocking, and they are lacking the stability. They are lacking the normal organic composure between the sun and between the earth. Yeah, and here's a person asking me if I'm using a corpse filter, exactly to prove my point. In no way do I look like a corpse. Thank you so much for your loving kindness, and thank you for being here. It is not easy for me to get on here and explain to you what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, and what I'm hearing, exactly because of the kind of comments that people make here. That makes it incredibly difficult. That is why the comments remain covered up, and that's why I don't say hi to people, because it distracts me from whatever message is supposed to come through for the people that are here that want the message, that are already feeling and reading the energy, and they just want the experience of someone who is also feeling, reading, and also deciphering the energy. Thank you for being here. Bye.